You're reading From the Ashes,
Hmm.
and my understanding is this is set in Chicago.
Yes. Yes, it
Tell us
is.
about it.
Yeah, sure. It is set in the Gilded Age in Chicago. So it is 1893. It starts right before and then goes through the World's Fair that took place there in Chicago. And it is a romance between a high society man who is the son of a very prominent family and a man who works in one of the print shops that he purchases.
Very exciting. I know so many people who are obsessed with that Chicago World's Fair because of the book Devil in the White City.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to have a story that might be a little more uplifting than about a serial killer.
Yes.
I hope.
It is. It is. It has, I think that, I wanted my work to serve as a partial criticism of the World's Fair and the Gilded Age as a whole, but have kind of an uplifting tone to it overall, of course, because it's a romance, but just in general with the progress that we continue to make as a society. And I feel like right now it's hard to find that positivity. So hopefully it'll be helpful for some.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, is there anything we need to know about the scene before you jump into the reading?
So I'll read from the first scene just because it's one of my favorites. It introduces one of the main characters, Arthur, who is the one who's an industrialist and a son of a very wealthy family. That's pretty much all you need to know. So I'll dive in and hope I can get through it okay. Flames flickered in the nearby fireplace, while Arthur Hughes sat on the yellow and brown striped sofa, one foot resting atop its opposite knee, his thumb tap, tap, tapping his thigh. Musical notes filled the room. Arthur flinched at each of the occasional mistakes in the familiar sonata. Damn it. How many more times would Emma have to play this piece before he could even pretend that her performance had been satisfactory? He let his eyes wander to the mantel clock. Noon. Arthur was scheduled to meet with Harry Putnam in less than 1 hour's time. He couldn't keep listening to Emma's half-hearted, unpracticed performances for much longer. Returning his focus to the piano, Arthur caught the eye of Emma's tutor, Charlotte, and forced a tight-lipped smile. Charlotte simply crooked an eyebrow in response. Arthur had to then purse his lips to contain a very real smile that was threatening to burst forth. Charlotte placed a hand on Emma's shoulder, signaling her to stop playing. I think your father is running short on time, she said. We'll practice more later. Emma heaved a sigh. Arthur could practically hear her eyes rolling. Fighting back the urge to reprimand her, Arthur uncrossed his legs and stood. Your playing is better, he said simply, straightening his jacket. Definitely better. Still terrible, but better. Emma swung her legs over the bench, her fast movement so inelegant it had to have been purposeful. Arthur held back from commenting. Again. I have no ear for music, Emma said, with the overinflated sense of self that most other 16-year-olds possessed, but typically kept better contained. I keep telling you, Arthur replied. I know piano isn't your favorite. No, it's not, Emma clipped. Emma, Arthur said, leveling a look. Your mother loved to play the piano, and I know for certain that she would have liked for you to learn. Can't you at least try to share this with her? It's not like she's here, Emma said bluntly. Arthur fought back a wince. Even though her callousness pained him, he tried to tell himself that his wife was more of a folk tale or a specter to Emma than a mother figure, as hard as that was to believe. It took Arthur an extra moment to collect himself enough to respond. No, she's not, he finally said. But I like to think that before Arthur could finish his sentence, Emma hopped to her feet. Rather than try to stop her, Arthur watched her skulk off. Charlotte came up beside him and touched his forearm. I'll talk to her, she said. Don't bother, Arthur said wearily. I had a temper myself when I was her age. It'll pass, eventually. I'm sure you were more respectful to your parents. Only to their faces. Did you forget the reason why Ella and I had to marry so young, and in such haste? Charlotte had been friends with Ella. It was how Arthur had met her. He had even liked Charlotte for a little while, before that ball where Ella had really caught his eye. Thinking back on his exploits, Arthur ran a hand over the lower half of his face. I was a master manipulator, Arthur said, deceitful. I was so cavalier, too, eager to be the opposite of whom my parents wanted me to be. But I realized, eventually, that I needed to change. His face fell as the weight of that statement settled into his brain. Now I'm exactly like my father, only I'm more miserable. You're nothing like him, Charlotte said. Trust me. How am I not? I live for my work, if you can even call my pitiful investments that. I have no real friends either. Charlotte reeled back, prompting Arthur to correct himself. All right, I have one real friend, but I pay her to be my friend, so I'm not sure if it counts. It counts. I'm not your friend because I work for you. Frankly, I could probably be better paid elsewhere. Arthur huffed a barely there laugh. I pay my staff poorly. Add that to the list. You pay me well. I was only trying to be funny. Can't recognize humor. Another similarity. Now Charlotte was laughing. Stop. Loves to hear himself talk. All right, now you're spouting complete nonsense. Arthur opened his mouth to say something in protest, but Charlotte's threatening look stopped him, and he held up his hands in mock surrender. He continued, you are nothing like your father, other than the fact that your offspring could stand to be better behaved. Arthur sighed. I know she could be, but honestly, I'd rather her be rude to my face than try to sneak off behind my back. I'll take honest eye rolls over false smiles every time. I still want to talk to her. I want to make her see how lucky she is. Now you're starting to sound like my father. I'm not referring to your family's money, but the fact that you care for her. Oh, yes. And I know what she'll say. She'll say that I'm too busy. She'll tell you that if I really cared, I'd spend more time here at home. I'd spend more time with her. And the worst part is she'll be right. Arthur paused to remove his spectacles, pince-nez style frames that pinched the bridge of his nose, and rubbed his eyes before putting them back on. I'm busy because when I'm not busy, I can't stop thinking about how miserable I am. And I'm only busying myself by either participating in events that I'm expected to participate in or tending to my investments and businesses. I know I should set more time aside to be with her. Charlotte's expression softened, her eyebrows lifting, her brown eyes shining with unbridled kindness. She's still lucky. She's lucky that you never fault her for her honesty, whether over her opinions or her emotions. And I want her to see that. Best of luck to you, then, Arthur said, a teasing edge to his voice. He took out his pocket watch to check the time. I need to head over to Putnam Press. Soon to be, well, not Hughes Press, because that's taken, but something else, maybe. Good luck to you, too, then. None needed. I made an outlandish offer for his business last week, and Mr. Putnam said that he would be happy to sell. He'll have the papers ready today. So, I better not be late. He bowed his head slightly and started toward the hall before stopping to turn back around. I should be back by 6, maybe 7. If you could tell Gertrude, that would be helpful. I'd rather not have her prepare dinner early, only to have the food grow cold. Charlotte hooked her hands behind her back and nodded. I'll tell her. Arthur threw her a wink and left.